What's going on, everybody? My name is Justin Godsey for the Football Source. Thank you so much for checking out tonight's NFL game recap. We are now into week 2 of the NFL season. We are now going in to talk about the Miami Dolphins on the road taking on the Buffalo Bills. Now, this was overall a very emotional day in Buffalo. There was a lot of commotion going on, for the Buffalo Bills on who's going to be the new owner. Ralph Wilson, who passed away. The team was immediately placed on the market. A lot of people are placing in their bids. The owners of the Buffalo Sabres could be potentially, the fit for the Buffalo Bills. Jim Kelly was in attendance today. They were all paying tribute to the legend of Ralph Wilson. Also, Jim Kelly, a guy who has battled cancer this entire offseason. A much, standing ovation. I respect the hell out of Jim Kelly. He was one of the best NFL quarterbacks, and for him to go through that very, struggling time, it's very hard for us. Being NFL fans, we're all together in this as a family. NFL is a game, or football is a game where we all come together and we like to, it's kind of like a brotherhood. And, Jim Kelly going through that hard time, through all of the fans, devotion and, giving him support, he pulled through that. Jim, good job for passing through that. You will continue to be in our thoughts. Now, when it comes to the football side of the things, hitting onto the field, the Buffalo Bills did work. They paid tribute to Ralph Wilson, getting a big victory against the rival, the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Buffalo Bills are starting off the season on a high note this year. 2-0 to start the year. Can they continue to have this success? They defeated the Bills last week in an upset victory. Chris Conte, was played, full of. Yes, Fred Jackson, pushed him to get that, game-winning field goal last week. So the Buffalo Bills are coming into this game a little bit on a note where we know we can compete against any team in the NFL. The Buffalo Bills did go to work tonight as they defeated the Miami Dolphins 29-10. E.J. Manuel and Ryan Tannehill had a blowout, both young quarterbacks in the NFL. Tannehill, I'm still having a lot of doubts for Tannehill. In the early goings of his career, a lot of people are having a lot of doubts that he could remain the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Going down the line, I still think there's still a lot of football left to play in his career in Miami. Do I think he could be possibly pulled out of the situation? I think that could happen. But Ryan Tannehill, the past couple of games have been really been outstanding. But tonight it was a little bit of a lackluster performance. The Miami Dolphins were not able to get anything going in the first half. The Buffalo Bills went into the halftime with a 10-point lead over the Miami Dolphins, and the complete second half was just blown up by the Buffalo Bills on the Dolphins. And it was all due to the passing game. E.J. Manuel 16 for 26 for 202 yards, 1 touchdown, and Sammy Watkins finally, breaking out in this game. We were all waiting on, what game would Sammy Watkins really, step up. One of the best wide receivers, probably the best wide receiver in the 2014 NFL Draft. And Watkins had a great game, 8 receptions for 117 yards and 1 touchdown. Glad to see him, get in the spotlight, for once. C.J. Spiller, led the team in rushing yards, 12 carries for 69 yards. Now, when it comes over to the Miami Dolphins, Ryan Tannehill had a busy day, completing 31 of his 49 attempts at throwing the ball, only getting 31 of the 49 completed. Very overall pretty solid. It was a really a battle of both quarterbacks. E.J. Manuel obviously getting the upper hand over Tannehill, but Tannehill got some good stats. 31 for 49 for 241 yards, 1 touchdown. The rushing game was relatively quiet because it was all a pass first game for the Miami Dolphins. Lamar Miller had 11 carries for 46 yards, and Mike Wallace, who's finally breaking out of his shell. I mentioned Mike Wallace in my Patriots and Vikings game recap, recapping the Patriots and the Dolphins game. Mike Wallace is finally breaking out of his shell against, for the Miami Dolphins. I think, last year was that big transition year for him, trying to really, understand the system, how is it going to work going into the future, trying to get, a little bit more accustomed to Ryan Tannehill being his quarterback, because remember, he was with Ben Roethlisberger up there in Pittsburgh for a number of years. So he had a pretty, okay game, 5 receptions for 56 yards and 1 touchdown. Overall, a really successful game for the Buffalo Bills, as they are now 2-0 and they are leading their division. And I think the Buffalo Bills are going to be the real deal this year. They are now going to be taking on the San Diego Chargers at home. Next week is going to be a really interesting game. San Diego coming off a victory over the Seattle Seahawks, and it's going to be a very interesting game. Phillip Rivers coming into town against a much younger team in the Buffalo Bills. It's destined to be a shootout between E.J. Manuel and Phillip Rivers. The Miami Dolphins, it's back to the drawing board. You're 1-1 on the year. The season is not lost. A lot of people are losing a lot of faith. The Miami Dolphins and the Jets, and as well as the New England Patriots, they're all tied for, they're all 1-1 on the year. The Buffalo Bills are leading this division. I think this is the time where the Buffalo Bills can start, gaining the upper hand and getting, some victories, some much-needed victories to break away from the other three teams in their division. So let me hear your guys' opinion about this game. Do you think the Buffalo Bills can really break apart and really, gain full momentum in this division, the AFC East? I'm Justin Godsey for the Football Source, and I'll catch you guys in my next NFL game